Okay, good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? In case you're unfamiliar with me, I'm Makeda Valletta, and I'm live on my IG page, Makeda Valletta Travels. Uh, I'll save it and then repost it to my YouTube, Makeda Valletta Travels, so be sure to follow me in both places. If you're unfamiliar with me, I am a native New Yorker from Harlem to be exact. Currently live in Chicago, American by lineage, and I travel a lot both in the country and out of the country. Um, Maybe I've been to like 14 or 15 countries, but I've been to many of them several times. And I do a lot of my traveling solo. And so there's a lot of things I think about when I decide what country I want to go to. I'm definitely not someone that needs to touch every country in the world. Okay. Um, on this channel, I talk about, different experiences in different countries or in America, culture, observations, and I think it's important to think about where you're traveling sometimes, because for me as a woman, there's things that I consider. There's certain countries where femicide is at an all-time high. And as a woman, I couldn't walk around with this dress on. I could get stoned or put in jail, or you say something, So I think about that as a woman. I think about it as a black person. I think deeply about where I'm going to travel to in the world. And I also know that even in some countries that are anti-black, a lot of times they treat black Americans differently than they'll treat somebody from Africa or someplace else. So I'm also aware of that as well. So it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. And understanding that sometimes when you travel certain places, you may have certain privileges because you're not from there and vice versa. So this morning, I want to talk about Ghana, okay? Um, Ghana's been having the biggest ad campaign, right, for visiting the country or moving to the country, leaving America, leaving the UK, which to me, black people in the UK are not in the same category as black people in America, okay, in terms of lineage. Like, black people in America, we've always been here. We didn't choose to come here. We built this shit. Black people in the UK, they left Africa and decided to move to the colonizers' land. And then you got Jamaicans, who seem to be the main Caribbeans in the UK, who most Jamaicans are African anyway, and they're moving to the UK. That's it. They're choosing to go over there to their colonizers' land. Okay, that's different. They're being in America because America is not the white man's land. Europe is. Okay, just because white people live here and they hijack this country, this is not their land. This is our land. Okay, just like in South Africa, white people hijack South Africa. That's not their land. White people hijacked Australia. That's not their land. So have that same respect in America, because when someone tries to tell me, oh, America doesn't love me, listen, America is me. I'm more American than any white person. Okay. So let's get that straight. So now, you know, I never felt a pull to go to Ghana. Okay. And I just never did. Then last year I said, because people keep talking about it so much. I said, maybe I'll check it out. Now, one of the main motivations is, yeah, there's a lot of fine Ghanaian men, and those men look great. Now, I can say that I don't have to go to Africa to find them, because there's plenty of African men right here in America. Okay, I've dealt with plenty of Nigerian men and Senegalese and Ghana and Cameroon. Okay, so there's a lot of African men right here. And I did go to Senegal, and when I went to Senegal, which is a very Muslim country, I did have a good experience with the men there. Okay, so I don't have anything. I want to do a whole other conversation about African men, because there's much conversation around that as well. I just will say that basically my experience with them has not been bad. Okay, but it's mostly been in America, except when I was in Senegal. So anyhow, I'm also, so I'm a woman. I'm a black woman. I'm also a bisexual woman, right? And the whole, most bisexual women do not identify with the LGBT, movement, because to me, I feel like that movement is really been hijacked by trend. I wanted to say what I want to say, but if I say the word transy, okay, I had to put the Z in it so I don't get flagged for being transgender. phobic, okay? But I feel like the transies and the gay men have hijacked the whole LGBT thing. And the transy conversation has nothing to do with the gay conversation. I'm going to do another video about that on my page, The Renaissance Amazon. I feel like the two are intermingled, like they're in the same category, and they're absolutely not. Dave Chappelle cracked a joke about that, about the alphabet people, and how they're all in the same car, but they're not going to the same destination. They're not on the same mission, and that's a fact. You know, as a bisexual woman, I don't go to lesbian events. I don't go to lesbian clubs. I learned when I was in my early 20s that wasn't the move, because a lot of lesbians hate men, and I don't hate men. I love men. Okay, I'm not a lesbian. I love women, but no matter how much I love women, I am not a lesbian. I still love men. I need male energy. A lot of lesbians are anti-male. You never see lesbians and gay men hanging out together. I don't care if you go to San Francisco. I don't care what city you go to. There's a gay male area and a lesbian area, which normally, you don't even notice because they're not as theatrical as the gay men. But you never see lesbians and gay men hanging out in the same club. You go to a lesbian club, all they do is fight. You go to a gay male club, they got glitter falling from the ceiling and fairy dust, and they're singing YMCA. Okay, so very different. Bisexual people, I don't feel like we fit in that. I can't speak what it's like for bisexual men. I can only imagine that a lot of them, when you're bisexual at all, period, you usually have to pick a side. Like you either have to identify straight or gay to be accepted. So you have a lot of people who say they're straight who are bi, a lot of people who say they're gay who are bi. Most people don't want to say they're bisexual because we get looked at as being confused and freaky. And so people will say, I don't want to, a lot of bisexual people will say, I don't like labels. Straight people don't say that. Straight people don't say they don't like labels. They'll say they're straight all day. Gay people don't say they don't like labels. They say they're gay all day. But bisexual people, a lot of times, are very quiet about it. Now, with the trannies, oops. See, I don't want to get in trouble for saying that word, but oops, it came out. Anyhow, with them, they're just confusing the whole conversation, because I feel like they are gay people who don't want to be gay. So they feel like, you like Dwayne Wade's son. I feel like he's just a fruity gay boy. That's fine. We've always had fruity gay boys, but he doesn't want to be a fruity gay boy. So he was like, oh, I'm a woman. When you're not a woman, you're just a fruity gay boy. You just accept that. Okay. Say Transformers. Okay. Thank you, Kofi. I will. Or you got, girls that don't want to be gay. So they think, oh, it's easier being a boy, or they feel awkward in their sex. So that stuff is delusional to me. Okay. I do not think, and I think that what's going on with children in this country, a lot of people are not aware of what is going on with children in America with this whole transformer thing, and how they really are pushing it on kids. Not the gay stuff, because that's totally different. Okay. But take hormone blockers and take artificial hormones and puberty blockers and cutting off, the breast at 14. That kind of permanent damage where these kids, when they grow up, they cannot reproduce, they cannot have orgasms. Most of them by 18 change their mind. It's just absolutely insane. Okay. Because I feel like a cat. I feel like I was a cat in the past life. I feel like I have a cat spirit in this life, but I know no matter how many surgeries I get, I'm not a cat. I can get all the surgeries in the world and go crawl around cats, and they're not going to accept me as a cat. Okay. But the transformer community wants everybody to accept their shenanigans. So I'm not with that. Now, again, I hate the fact that it's put in the same category with gays, okay, because it confuses the conversation and sets everybody back. But with that being said, okay, at the end of the day, even though, I'm not with, I think that the transformer thing is crazy, and I don't think it should be done to kids. I think that whatever adults want to do, if you want to mutilate your body, if you want to take hormones, if you want to identify, you can do whatever you want. I don't think that means that you should be put in jail or that you should be unalived. Okay. I don't think you should play games with people and try to make them, I don't think you should try to make them think you're, the opposite sex and you're not. But I don't think they're just inherently saying that, you want to be a transformer and that you like the same sex, that you should be thrown in jail or given the death penalty. That's crazy to me. And one thing I can say about Africa, okay, because I didn't grow up religious. Thank goodness, okay? I didn't grow up brainwashed by the Bible or by the Quran or any other religious text, okay? But it's the world's three main religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, that are responsible for such hatred and vile and violent homophobia. Okay, because I'm someone who studies, and if you look at my videos on this page, but also my other page, the Renaissance Amazon, you will see I talk a lot about history and anthropology. I have a lot of books. I need to start doing videos with my books behind me, but I read a lot of books about history, anthropology, archaeology, scholarly texts. I'm into pre-colonial art, okay, pre-colonial cosmology. I'm into seeing what we were thinking and doing before we were colonized, okay? And when I say we, I mean the peoples of the world, okay? And a lot of that is in the stones. They talk about what's written in stone. They talk about, what's written in stone. So I look at the pre-colonial art, especially when you have Africans and Native Americans who were not very, they were, what is it? They didn't have a lot of written word, okay? So a lot of the cosmology and the teachings was passed on through the art, through the songs, through the dances, through the cave art, through the stone figurines, okay? So it's important to look at those things. And so this is something I started studying almost 20 years ago. And I did a video many years ago, over a decade ago, about third gender people, which was recognized in every society, including in Africa. And you can look at the primary documents. You can look at the primary documents of the colonizers, but when they came to the Americas, when they came to India, when they came to Africa, and they saw men dressed as women, they saw that all over the world, okay? And they condemned it with their Bibles, okay, and their religious teachings, which was completely perverted. And I could do a whole video. I have done videos on that before on my other page, the Renaissance Amazon, because that's where I really talk about those things. And I will probably do an updated video very soon. But those religions condemned same-sex activity, which has always existed, and the men who wore dresses were considered to have a sacred position, okay? It was understood in matriarchal traditions that women are closer to spirit because we give birth. Whether we choose to give birth or not, we are penetrated sexually, so we're penetrated spiritually. Sexuality and spirituality are considered to be of the same continuum. So as women, we're penetrated sexually, so we're penetrated spiritually. Because we have the ability to give birth, spirit has the ability to come through us. They knew that men weren't that close to spirit in that way. But the men who were the cross-dressers, the gay men, okay? They're being penetrated sexually, they're being penetrated spiritually. So a lot of times you see men who are readers, and I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of times they're gay, right? Psychic men, these men that are connected to spirit. So they were always considered to have a special place in society. There were also women who were known to have male spirits, okay? And they dressed as men, and they might have had certain taboos against having sex with men. This existed right here in Turtle Island, America. It was very well documented. You had female trackers helping male chiefs escape, and these women were forbidden to have sex with men, and they had male spirits, and they did the man's role. So we have always that has always existed throughout the world. So a lot of people are quick to make opinions, but they haven't read any books except the Bible, okay? The Bible is some bullshit. I'm sorry. The Bible is not an instruction manual that came with the earth. It's not, okay? It's something that some men made up, and I don't trust shit that a man said, oh, spirit told me to write this down. I don't even trust that, because men are not the ones that are as closely connected to spirit, and men are the number one manipulators. I know people don't want to hear that, but whenever you look at a mass, whenever you look at like a mass scandal, like some religious scandal on a large scale, like some Jim Jones type shit, it's always a man behind it. All these mega churches with these pastors, raping these kids, men behind it, okay? I remember when I was in Haiti back in 2010, I was talking to a very high-level voodoo priest, and I asked him, what do you think about the Mambos? The Mambos are the voodoo priestesses in Haiti. And he said, the Mambos are more connected to spirit. And he said, whenever someone is like trying to scam you or get over on you, is always a man. He said that, okay? And I had observed that myself, all right? So, but all of that was shunned. There were witch hunts, okay? And it was in the name of colonialism and religion. There's somebody named Malidoma Some, okay? I believe that he's Congolese. but I hope I'm not wrong. I think he's Congolese. Okay, Malidoma Some. That sounds like a Congolese name. And he wrote a book years ago called "Of Water and Flesh," I think, or "Spirit and Water and Spirit," something like that. You can find it if you look it up, Malidoma Some. And he wrote a whole book on this. Okay, talking about how there was always, male men with female spirits recognized in a special position, women with female spirits, same-sex activity, and it had its place. And there's many examples of that throughout Africa. Okay, and I'll write some of the books below on my YouTube channel because I have several books. I just don't have them out right now. But when I think about traveling, like I didn't know that it was already illegal in Ghana to engage in same-sex activities. I didn't know that. Now, as I had never felt pulled to go to Ghana, and recently I have been considering it just because of all the hype around it, which to me, going to Senegal kind of opened my eyes. And I never had rose-colored glasses when it came to Africa. I didn't. But going to Senegal was kind of traumatizing because I felt like on social media, people make it seem like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so lovely. And it was the most unbeautiful, unlovely place I've ever been. Okay. I mean, no. And I'm not going to. Another difference between American culture and a lot of African countries, not just African countries, a lot of countries in the world, that Americans, we speak up. Okay. We'll say the truth about stuff. We say how we feel. It's okay for us to say we don't like something. Okay. I'm from New York. People come to my city all the time and say they don't like it. I don't throw a hissy fit. If you say you think New York is dirty, even though the whole city isn't dirty, but yeah, a lot of it is dirty, I'm not going to throw a hissy fit and be like, how dare you say that about my city, and have a whole start attacking you. But that's what people do when you say something about Africa. Like when I came back from Senegal and I showed the real streets in Dakar and what the conditions were really like, which was terrible. Okay. So many Africans got mad at me for telling the truth. Like, y'all just want to keep perpetuating a lie. Like lying is a part of your culture. No. And then with Ghana, I keep seeing these posts, trying to tell Black Americans to move to Ghana and invest in Ghana, which is simply ridiculous to me. Okay, I'm only going to invest in my country. And if I invest anywhere outside of my country, it's going to be in the Americas. Okay, not in Africa. Because my number one, my bloodline is not from there for I can trace. And number two, even if I had a bit of that in my bloodline, Africans sold Africans. Okay, so but in the Americas, we have an interconnected history. Okay, the Caribbean, Mexico, South America, United States, Canada, we have an interconnected history. So if I'm going to invest in something outside of America, it will be in the Americas, not across the ocean in West Africa, because no. Okay, so the thing is that me not knowing it was already gay. You could already go get 3 years of prison time for doing something homosexual in Ghana. Never knew it. Now, I've been in New Orleans. New Orleans is one of my favorite cities in the world. Girls love to dance with girls in New Orleans. Girls love to dance with girls in New Orleans, and if a pretty girl dances with me, I'm definitely going to dance with her. I love dancing with pretty women. If you see my pages, some of my photos on my Instagram page, the Renaissance Amazon, I have artistic pictures with women, and artistic nude pictures. And there was a time, maybe 10 years ago and prior to that I was really focused on doing something called the Double Goddess series, which was images of myself with other women, like beautiful artistic images with other women, just to show how beautiful it is when two women are together. I feel like we don't see that enough. And when we do see gay stuff in America, it's usually two men, which I have no hate or problem with that, but I just don't feel like two men is as beautiful as two women. And I wanted to show that more and just make it so beautiful that it made somebody think, like, if you hate this, what's wrong with you? Why do you hate that so much? And I can say that what I noticed way back in high school was that people who were the most homophobic, and you so homophobic and you got so much to say about gay people, those were always the ones that were closeted gays. Okay. If you were people who are straight and are comfortable in their straightness, they don't even care. Okay. But the ones maybe not somebody's bothering them or harassing them, but the people that are always so loud about, oh, gay this and gay that and gay this and gay that, and you're so violently homophobic, those are always the closeted homosexuals. I don't care what anybody says. And I feel like religious suppression of sexuality, it promotes and breeds perverts. Okay, that's where perverts come from. So in Ghana, already you can get 3 years prison time for engaging in same-sex activities. You get caught having sex with a woman. And it's like, I've had sex with African chicks too, okay? I've had sex with girls from Cameroon, from Benin. I don't know if I ever had sex with a Ghanaian girl. But I've definitely messed with chicks from West Africa who are really about their life. So it's like to think about the fact that if I was in Ghana and I start kissing a chick or somebody walks in on me having sex with a woman, I could get sent to jail for 3 years. Hell no, I don't want to go to no country like that. I like to be places where I can smoke weed, dance with pretty girls if I want to, walk around in a dress like this and show my skin if I want to because it's hot. How the hell are you in these hot ass countries with all these clothes on? It's not even good for your health. Okay? Like the more melanin you have, the more sun you need on your skin. Someone said chicks from Ghana be freaky as fuck. That's crazy. I didn't know that about out there. Yeah. See, thank you for telling me that. I feel like because I am a sacred sexual educator, right? So when I've studied sexuality around the world, I know that there's a lot of sexual suppression in Africa. But the laws in a place don't always reflect the reality of a place. Like weed has been illegal in America for years, but there's always been an abundance of weed everywhere, right? That didn't stop people from smoking weed even though it was illegal. And now it's become illegalized, but even when it was illegal, a lot of people were still buying and selling and smoking weed. So with Africans, even though I know that African countries are extremely sexually suppressed, the Africans that I know, they're not sexually suppressed. They're actually very open-minded and very sexual. Okay, the men and the women. Yeah, the law. Yeah, so now currently you get 3 years in prison. Okay, if you get caught having sex with the same sex. That's why before you travel to a country, you gotta look at their laws, because some laws of some countries ain't worth it for me. So that's number one. It's a good thing I didn't go over there with a girlfriend, thinking that me and her could be all sexy in public. No, I got some notes on there. So this new bill that they're trying to pass is saying, look how crazy it is. Okay, now you can already get 3 years for being caught having sex with somebody, but now if you just identify as being LGBT, right? Just identify. They don't catch you doing anything, but you identify. So it could say on my social media page, bisexual. Just doing that will get you 3 years in prison. Okay. If you fund anything if you're funding any LGBT stuff, 5 years in prison just for funding. Okay. If you know somebody is gay or LGBTQ or whatever, if you know somebody is that and you don't report them, you can face 5 years prison in Ghana. Okay. How crazy is that? That's so crazy because first of all, you may not even know somebody's like that and they could assume that you know that and arrest you. Or you just in somebody's business and you think the person's gay and they may not be. There's people that people think are gay and they're not. Okay, and because you knew the person, you can go to jail for 5 years. What kind of backwards ass shit is that? Then you'll get 10 years for advocating for LGBT kids. Okay, now the thing I want to say about that is, again, I think that the transformer. Okay, let me get my words right so I don't get blocked. Because if I really talk how I want to talk, I'm going to get suspended. Okay, so. Like I said, the transformer issue and the gay issue are two different issues. I do not think that anybody should be pushing trans stuff on kids. Okay, I do not think that that is good at all. I don't think that should be pushed on anybody. I think anybody who's trying to be the opposite sex needs to realize you're out of your mind. Okay, if you're a woman and you have a vagina and you bleed every month, I don't care how much you want to be a man. Every month when you bleed, you're going to be reminded that you are a woman. Okay, like. Accept who you are. You could be gay all day, but if you was born with a penis, you are not a chick. I don't care what you cut off or what hormones you take or what surgery you get, and vice versa. Okay, so let's just stop that delusion. I'm against that. I'm anti transformers. Okay, I'm gonna get shirts that says that. I'm anti that. Okay, but I'm very much a bisexual woman, and I don't ever identify with the LGBTQ. I'm not at the parades, but I'm a bisexual woman, so I am that B in the equation. And there's a lot of us, okay? And the fact of the matter is that, and we're the most silent. We don't complain about how hard it is for us. We don't complain about that because people think it's easy, but it's not. As a bisexual woman, it's been very difficult for me because most men don't understand it, and lesbians don't understand it, which is why I don't mess with lesbians, so there's a lot of things that makes it complicated. And I have videos where I've spoken about that, but you don't see us whining about that constantly, right? So, so now, not just with Ghana, okay, there are 12 African countries where homosexuality and LGBT stuff has never been criminalized, right? There's 12. There's 10 African countries who have decriminalized it. And then there's 4 countries where you can get the death penalty: Northern Nigeria, Uganda, Somalia, and Mauritania, or some country with an M. Mauritania, something, I'm sorry. And then South Africa is the first African country to legalize gay marriage. Now, for me, I'm not trying to marry a chick, but to me, that's always existed in pre-colonial societies as well. That has existed. And who cares? I don't care. If another dude wants to marry another dude, so what? And just because someone's gay doesn't mean they can't have kids and that they won't. There's plenty of gay people with kids. And there's plenty of straight people that don't have kids. Okay, so the whole kid thing makes no sense with the gay thing. Because I know 10 people I could think of off the top of my head who are gay that have kids, lesbians that gave birth, who are dykish, okay? So let's stop that, okay? And then when you have laws like that, what happens is you have gay people, you have a gay man in a relationship with a woman, marry her, and be having sex with a dude because he can't be himself. I think it's always better when people can be themselves, because when you make suppressive laws that people can't be themselves, then you just lie. So now you're living in a world full of lies and illusions. And now the country and the government is focused on doing a witch hunt about who's having sex with who. Who cares? Making laws that you can't have sex with an opposite race or opposite sex is ridiculous. What's not ridiculous is making it illegal to have sex with minors and animals, you know what I'm saying, or people against their will. That, yes. But when it's 2 consenting adults, who cares? Okay? Namibia said that same-sex marriage must be considered the same as heterosexual. And 31 out of 54 African countries have banned homosexuality, which I don't know what that means that you ban it, but I don't know if that means you get jail time, but there's 31 out of 54 countries that banned it. Now, the thing with me with Africans, I feel like a lot of them believe a lot of crazy stuff. Like, and I'm not talking about all Africans, right? And I know Africa is a huge continent with 54 countries, but there's a lot of backward stuff. You have clitorectomies happening. You have dry sex. I did a video maybe five years ago about the dry sex issue. Hold on a minute. I'm not sure if you are aware of that, but there's certain African countries where, hold on a minute. Let me move this. I want to move this camera. Hold on a minute. There are, what am I trying to say? There are African countries where they're still doing clitorectomies. They're cutting women's clits off. Oh yeah, dry sex. Okay. So dry sex is something where there are certain countries where the men say that a wet vagina is a loose vagina, and they prefer dry vaginas. So the women put chalk, newspaper, sand in their vaginas to dry it out. Okay, so to make it more pleasurable to the man. And a lot of times the man gets dick damage. A lot of times the woman is bleeding internally. It encourages more HIV infections. I mean, so if you Google dry sex in Africa, right? I Google it and it says the first thing that comes up: in many African cultures, plants and other intravaginal desiccants are used to minimize vaginal secretions. This practice, known as dry sex, creates a vagina that is dry, tight, and heated, which is supposed to generate an increased sensation for the man during intercourse. Okay, now this is coming from dry sex in Suriname. Wow, Suriname is in South America. Okay, it's a very African country in South America. Now, here's another NIH, National Institutes of Health, but this is from 1998. It says, concern voiced over dry sex practices in South Africa and how dry sex may aid in the transmission of HIV. Another article after that, dry sex is the African sexual health issue no one's talking about, right? I mean, there's article after article after article after article. It says dry sex, the prevalence of dry sex reported by 60% of men and 46% of women. This says South African women are using dangerous methods to dry out their vaginas to increase pleasure for them. So you can Google it and you can see it's very common in sub-Saharan Africa, which is insane. Okay, nobody is doing that over here. Even though I did see some articles about it happening in some parts of the Caribbean, but dry sex practices. Okay, then they're cutting off women's clits. Okay. Religion has a lot to do with this, okay? Because the world's three main patriarchal religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, preaches that sex is supposed to not be pleasurable for women. You know, women are the ultimate sin. We're just supposed to get pregnant and have babies and be quiet. You know, men can control our fertility. Like, you know, in matriarchal societies, you had women, what they called witches, who had the herbs to help women ease labor, who help women, the herbs for for abortion, the herbs for not getting pregnant, okay? Birth control, abortion, easing labor, all those things were in the hands of women. They've always existed, okay? So the whole idea that abortion shouldn't happen, again, is coming from religion, wanting to control and suppress a woman's body. Why they want to cut the clit off? Coming from religion. They want to stop her pleasure. There was a time in the world when, you know, even a woman with a big clit was considered a nymphomaniac and a lesbian, and they wanted to cut it off to punish her. And so there's always been this all this sexual suppression comes from patriarchal religions, and it has infected them. Like Africans, to me, and again, this is a general statement, I'm not talking about all of them, but they took the colonial mindset and took it to the goddamn extreme. Like, they are more Christian than the whitest Christian, more Catholic than the whitest Catholic, more goddamn Muslim. Like, they took that to the nth degree. And in Ghana and some of these countries, they act like they're they're anti-gay laws. They act like they act like they are, you know, showing the West how it's done. They're fighting the West. And they don't realize that those ideologies, these super anti-gay ideologies, comes from colonialism. That is not how Africa always was. That's not how African cultures were. And it's crazy because Africans are quick to say that Black Americans are lost and we don't know who we are. I feel like Africans are extremely lost, okay? Extremely lost. They be so goddamn Christian, so goddamn Muslim, you know, and walking around with all those damn clothes on, that somebody in America, me wearing a dress like this in America is not a big deal. It's not. But you go to some African countries, it's like, oh my God, why do you have your skin out? Why do you have your legs out? You know what I'm saying? And they're walking around with 80 layers of clothes on, everything covered up because of colonial shit. Okay, because that's not how they were before they were colonized. And if you go to parts of Africa, parts of the few parts in the world where it's hot and people aren't colonized, they're walking around naked. If you look at the pre-colonial art, people are naked. Okay, people weren't walking around with all those damn clothes on. That's completely from the colonizer. They're over there bleaching their skin in Africa. We don't have a skin bleach problem over here except for in Jamaica. Okay, but all throughout Latin America, people say Latin America is so anti-Black. They're not bleaching their skin. There's not a skin bleaching problem in Dominican Republic. There's not a skin bleaching problem in Cuba. There's not a skin bleaching problem in Colombia or Brazil. There's not. Okay, but Africans are bleaching their skin. So, to me, it's ridiculous for them to ever come out their face and say that we're lost and we don't know who we are. And I do see a lot of ridiculous things. Like, there's certain African villages where they feel like a young girl has to be raped by a man with HIV in order to become a woman. But if she gets HIV, then she's shunned from the community. Like, and then they don't think, I've seen interviews on YouTube where they're interviewing the female in charge of that village, and they're asking her, do you think that the HIV rates are due to this practice? And she's like, no, no. It's like, what kind of dumb shit is that? I just feel like a lot of them believe a lot of dumb shit. I'm sorry. So yeah, so for me, I just feel like let me look up one more thing. Uh, um, I was trying to see if there's any countries in the Americas. Um, I was trying to see if there's any countries in the Americas where being gay is illegal. I know there's no countries where you can get the death penalty. Um, Now I'm looking at. I know you guys can't see my screen. I'm not all high tech. Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking. There's a map here that shows this on Forbes. It shows all the countries in the world where it's illegal to be gay. And the only country in the Americas. I'm talking about South America, Central America, the Caribbean, North America. The only country over here where it's illegal is Suriname. Oh wait, it looks like some of the little islands too. Hold on a minute. It looks like some of the little islands. But it's like, you probably can't see this. I know it's on my computer. And you can look it up. I can place the link below. So you probably can't see this. But if you look at, you see how much all of this. But you look at America, you have, Suriname and a couple little dots in the Caribbean. Okay. The death penalty for being gay is possible in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Qatar, Somalia, and the UAE. I never had any desire to go to the UAE either. I'm sorry, I don't want to be in no highly Muslim countries. They want to suppress women. I need to be someplace. I like to be someplace where I can be myself. And I don't like wearing a whole lot of clothes, no heat. First of all, it's not good for our health, okay? And it's too damn hot to be having on all those clothes. I'm not going to be in 90-degree weather with pants and long sleeves and all this shit on. No. Okay? I don't want to be someplace where I have to suppress who I am. And in America, I don't really have to do that. Okay? I can be who I am. If I like girls and I want to dance with girls and I want to take pictures with girls, I can do that. I'm not going to be stoned to death. I'm not going to be given the death penalty. And so, yeah, between that and the other thing with Ghana has some of the worst drinking water in the country. In the world. It said that 76% of households in Ghana are at risk of drinking water that is contaminated with fecal matter. 76% of residents in Ghana are at risk of drinking water that's contaminated with fecal matter. Only 4% of households treat their water suitably before drinking it, and 93% don't treat it at all. Then, the air quality, Ghana is number 27 in the world with the worst air quality. Okay. We look at a list of the worst air quality countries in the world. Ghana is number 27. And like I said, I went to Senegal and it was a rude awakening. Like I've experienced bad air quality in the Americas in certain cities like San Jose, Costa Rica, Havana, Cuba. It almost felt like every time I went to the Caribbean or something and I'm in the city, like the air felt thicker because of the car exhaust. I think they use different fuel than we do. But when I went to Senegal, I couldn't breathe. I could not believe it. And that caused me to do a lot of research and see how bad the air quality is there. And it's some of the worst in the world. The same thing is true for Ghana. Okay. So why, again, it was hard for me even visiting Senegal. I was supposed to be there for like 10 days. I left like a day 4. Okay. I cut my trip short and came back. And then like I had problems breathing for days after that. So I'm looking at people moving their kids over there. It's like, why would you move your kids over there? Increase their chances for all kinds of cancers. The healthcare is not as good. So to me, I've definitely felt like there was a lot of scamming going on with trying to convince Black Americans that we need to leave America, which is crazy to me, and move over there and then invest over there, where we're likely to get scammed. I think a lot of them see us as just a paycheck. And I'm not talking about all Africans. I have a lot of African friends, but I also think there's a difference between Africans who in America or, outside of Africa in the UK or whatever outside of Africa. I think there's a big difference between them and the ones who still live in Africa. And I'm not saying that everybody in Africa is trying to scam you, but I'm saying that it's not just Africa. Like as an American, when I was in Haiti, they did it in Cuba. They didn't do it in Colombia. I felt like Colombia and Mexico wasn't as bad. But Cuba, Haiti, I went to Jamaica so long ago, I can't remember. I don't remember them doing it in Costa Rica. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. But for sure, a lot of countries, when you're American and you go to a poor country, they just automatically start changing prices on you. Oh, or probably same thing if you're from Canada or the UK, same thing. In America, we don't do that. Okay. If we realize that somebody's not from here, we don't then change the price and charge them $100 more because they're foreign. We don't do that kind of stuff. Some of those countries, I remember when I was in Senegal, I paid the taxi driver what we agreed for me to pay him to take me to the airport. And then when I got there, he tried to act like I didn't pay him. That scared me because when you're a foreigner in these countries, they're never going to side with you. Okay. It's not like America where they give the benefit of the doubt to immigrants and people who are not even legal citizens. It's not like that in other countries. You're automatically guilty just because you're foreign. So you have to be careful about getting in, with a lot of those situations. Ghana's also on the brink of an economic collapse. So to me, it's like, yeah, they're going to tell us, oh, year of the return, come back and buy land and do this and do that. When honestly, when I'm looking at the land there, it doesn't look as nice as the land here in the Americas. Right here, right in New York State, the land looks lusher and more beautiful than the land I'm seeing people show in Ghana. Okay. And then you have, the whole East Coast from Maine, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York State, beautiful land, okay? But then you look at the whole wide North America. There's a lot of beautiful land here. And then you look at the Caribbean, Cuba. Cuba has the most, beautiful soil, the richest soil I've ever seen. You go to Brazil, Colombia. There's a lot of beautiful land here. And when I'm looking at the land in Ghana, it just looks overworked. The air looks thick and smoggy. It doesn't look healthy. And then they have something called, fresh processed foods over there. Fresh foods. They're calling it fresh foods, but it's highly processed. So for me, I like to tell the truth about places, whether it be good or bad. I'll tell the truth about my city, New York City. I'll tell the truth about Chicago, whether it's good or bad. Every place has its pros and cons. But I feel like a lot of African countries, they just want to put out this narrative that we're not bad. It's just the media saying that. And then it's like complete chaos. And then you're over there trying to give people the death penalty and send them to jail for just identifying with being LGBT or because they didn't snitch on somebody who was LGBT. That's ridiculous. So if there's a gay person in a family and the siblings don't tell, the mother doesn't tell, the whole family can go to jail for that? That's ridiculous. How is that logical? And there are people who are acting like that's a great law Ghana's coming up with. I really hope that causes Ghana's tourism to really suffer. I do. Fumi, you just got back from Dominican Republic, never going back. Do you mind telling me why? I'm definitely curious to know about your experience in Dominican Republic. I went to Dominican Republic once. Well, I grew up in Washington Heights around Dominicans. And there's a complicated conversation with them. I've never had an issue with them, but there's, a lot to unpack with them. And I went to Dominican Republic for the first time last May, and I actually liked it more than I thought I would. But I would definitely love to hear what you have to say for me about Dominican Republic for sure, because they definitely have these gradients. So in America, it's basically white or black. That's it. Okay, which is not scientific or correct, but that's just how the categorization goes. But in Latin America, they got negra, morena, mestiza, blanca, so it's like a lot of times me being somebody who's not a dark-skinned person, I'm not light-skinned, but I'm not dark-skinned. And a lot of times in these countries, like dark-skinned people are treated differently than somebody who is more brown, or somebody who's lighter is treated differently. So someone can go to Jamaica, like, Boomy, you said you went to DR and you're never going back. That's how I felt when I went to Jamaica. I had no desire to go back to Jamaica, but I know you go to Jamaica a lot. And Jamaica has a lot of anti-blackness, even though Jamaica is extremely black. You look like, when I went to Jamaica, I felt like I was in Ghana. Like that's like one of the, Jamaica and Haiti are the two blackest countries I've been to. We're like very African meaning. dominant, like African, like you feel like you're in Africa. But Jamaica has a lot of anti-blackness as well. And so I've known light-skinned people who've gone to Jamaica and be like, oh, I love it. But that's because a lot of Jamaicans worship white people and light skin. When I was in Dominican Republic, I noticed I didn't see bleached skin. I didn't see girls walking around with wigs and perms. I saw a lot of natural hair in Dominican Republic, more so than I see in Africa or Jamaica. So it's very interesting. Jamaica is great only if you know people and staying with friends. Yeah, I went to Jamaica with somebody. When I went to Jamaica, I went to visit someone who's always lived in Jamaica. He was Jamaican, lived there his entire life. And I went there, stayed with him and in Kingston. And he showed me around different parishes in Jamaica. I did not like Jamaica at all. I remember thinking, I've never been someplace with so much anger fuming off of it. And I remember thinking Jamaicans talk a lot of shit about how great their country is. And they better not say shit to me because Jamaica, no. That I saw extreme poverty. I felt like people weren't nice. I felt like, and that's their culture. Because, of course, to Jamaicans, they act like all that attitude is okay. But to me, it's like, you working in service and you're rude as hell. That won't happen anywhere in America when people be that mean to you. And like you walk into a restaurant and they're just assholes all day. Like, and I know a black dude from Jamaica. He was Jamaican. He dark skinned. He told me he left Jamaica because they told him he was too dark to be a pilot in the military. So he came here. I know another dude who's Jamaican and black American. And he told me that when he was in Jamaica, they were snatching dark skinned people and throwing them out the club. Okay. And then you have that extreme skin bleaching. They look crazy as hell, So Jamaica wasn't an impressive place to me. I actually like Dominican Republic better, but definitely I would love to know your experience about Dominican Republic. Now I'm going to do another video about this on my other page, The Renaissance Amazon, which is this is a book right here, Sheila Nagig's, okay, The Dark Goddess of Sacred Power, okay. And if you see this artwork, right? This is ancient cave art that was found all around the world with the woman with her legs wide open. You can see the vulva and the lips and all of that. This is from Ireland. This was above over churches. People would rub this when they went into churches in Ireland. Okay. And you see the back of the picture. This is from some festival in South America. And then you see this, right? And so this book, and I'm going to do a video about this on my other page, Renaissance Amazon, but all throughout the world, like Puerto Rico has a goddess called Atabe, okay? Atabe has her legs, sitting with her legs open the same way. There's so many pictures in this book that I could show you. New York City is not good these days. Check the trains, tons of homeless and mental health. Actually, the migrants are getting a lot more than U.S. born citizens. Yeah, I know. The migrants are getting a lot more than U.S. born citizens, and it's ridiculous. I don't think that migrants should be getting anything. There's no other country in the world where you could be an illegal goddamn citizen and they're going to give you all that. There's no country in the world where you could be a legal citizen and they're going to give you all that. And it just makes me upset how people just feel so entitled to America and they don't respect the people that's been here. Okay, that really bothers me. But this was over a church, you see? Okay, just the way people have the cross and Jesus bleeding on the cross. That's what used to be on the churches. Is the Sheila Nagig's. Google it. Google Sheila Nagig. This is a whole book about it. All around the world, in Egypt, Italy. I'm looking at. Now this one right here is in Wiltshire, England, right? Yes, for me, they are the new slaves. The illegal migrants are the new slaves, and I want to talk about that for sure. Now you see this image right here, right? And it says that this is the Oakley Sheila from Wiltshire, England, 13th century. Is that the amniotic sac between her legs, or is her merry smile due to a large clitoris almost the same size as her breast? So they're saying, is that the amniotic sac or a large clitoris? Okay. You have, there's so many images in here. I was trying to find I was trying to find Atabe from Puerto Rico. I just flipped on it yesterday. But you can also Google Atabe. Atabex. But she's a goddess from Puerto Rico that has her legs wide open, just like that. There's several pictures in here. I'm not going to keep showing them to you. But you can check this book out. And so, people always talk about what's written in stone. And we should pay attention to what's written in stone. So what indigenous people put in cave walls in stone, what they made stone figurines out of, are things that we need to pay attention to. They didn't just do that for no reason. But the colonizers that came with their Bibles and their Qurans tried to destroy all of that. So if you really want the truth, you don't get it from looking at patriarchal colonizing religions. You get it from looking at the pre-colonial art and cosmology. Okay? How were we before we were colonized? That's the important thing to look at. And yes, the migrants in America are the new slaves. Okay? And it really annoys me, this narrative that, oh, they're doing work Americans don't want to do. That pisses me off. Okay? And that's a narrative that's just recited as fact. But it's like in reality, Americans fought to not do slave labor. We fought for certain wages, certain working conditions. We're not working like slaves for 5 cents. But you have these illegal migrants that come here, oh, I'll do it. And then they're undermining what we fought for and causing wages to drop. That's the reason why a lot of wages haven't gone up in a lot of fields. In trucking, I've heard that they were doing that in trucking from a couple of years ago, coming and maybe somebody got paid $1,200 for that load, and now some migrant comes and says, I'll do it for $600. So that caused a lot of the rates to drop. And I absolutely cannot stand it. It's ridiculous. There are American citizens who need free rent and food, and we don't get that, but they're giving it to illegals. That's absolutely absurd, and I don't agree with it. And it is the new slavery for sure. And it's setting all of us back in this country. But I just had to say that I had to speak my piece about Ghana, and I'm going to the only thing that's made me want to go to Ghana is because people keep talking about it so much. So it's kind of like, I want to go see for myself. But before, I had no interest in going to Ghana. Going to Senegal kind of made me not know if I really wanted to go back to West Africa. Like, I know that every country is different, but there's things about Senegal that I'm sure is present in every West African country. I was kind of turned off, but now I really feel pulled to go to South Africa. Especially because South Africa has a medicinal marijuana legacy, and it's legalized there. I really want to scope that out. I like the architecture in South Africa. Like, when I look at the architecture in a lot of West Africa, I don't like it. I'm an architecture person. I love the architecture in Mexico City. Mexico City is divine. I love the architecture in Chicago. Okay? If you don't know how beautiful Chicago is, it's voted number 2 most beautiful city in the world. Now, I think that's true when it comes to architecture, but not when it comes to the land, because it's so flat. There's no hills or anything. But the architecture is divine. New Orleans has beautiful architecture. San Francisco has beautiful architecture. New York has beautiful architecture in certain areas. Or Boston. Of course, Paris and Amsterdam is one of my favorite places. The Netherlands, period. But South Africa has very nice architecture. I also like the architecture in Colombia. Okay, Bogota, oh my God, But a lot of the West African countries and a lot of the Caribbean countries, to me, don't have good architecture. Like, Cuba has good architecture. I don't know what happened to the rest of the Spanish colonies. Sorry. I'm checking my morning tea. I don't know what happened to the rest of the Spanish colonies and the Caribbean and why their architecture sucks. But Cuba has divine architecture. Costa Rica has really good indigenous architecture. So I like that, So I feel pulled to South Africa. I might go to Ghana, but I might skip it. Because someone like myself, the way that I speak up, I'm on the internet being my bisexual self, Sometimes you go to other countries and they be looking at your social media. I ain't trying to go to Ghana and go to jail because they're like, oh, you have sex with girls. We see it in your pictures. You can't leave the country. You're going to jail. I ain't trying to be bothered with that. And then not be able to breathe too with that air and that water. Go look it up. So, I definitely see people, like there's this one Instagram page, Passport Heavy. He's a Ghanaian guy from Chicago who travels the world, and he's been doing all these videos in Ghana. And he has Ghanaian people speaking offensively about Americans. Oh, Americans, they have a savior complex. And They just think that everyone's supposed to want to be in their country and not leave. No, the hell we don't. We wish more people would goddamn leave and stop coming here. Okay, so calling it a savior complex is like you have a lot of nerve saying that when you're a black ass grew up in America. Why did your family leave Ghana and come over here? You were raised in Chicago. And it's easy for you to go back to Ghana and be all idealistic because you have money, first of all, from living in America. And you're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is one of the things that I really appreciated about Anthony Bourdain. When Anthony Bourdain traveled places, he did not ignore the elephant in the room. He addressed it. Like, for example, in Haiti, you couldn't drink the water in DR. I don't drink the water in any foreign country. DR is extremely poor as well. But yeah, for him to say that, oh yeah, Haiti. When I went to Haiti, because I just saw a video of a Haitian girl also making a video saying, she started the video by saying, if you haven't been to Haiti, then this video is not for you, don't say nothing. If you never lived in Haiti. And then she starts going on about how, you know, her life is so much easier in Haiti than it is in America. And she's going on and on and on, shitting on America and talking about how her life was so much better in Haiti. So it's like, if your life is so much better in Haiti, then why are you here? Why? Why are you here? That makes no sense. That's the reason why I wouldn't move to Haiti or Africa, because my life is so much better in America. So I'm not going to downgrade. So if you feel like you felt like you downgraded because you went from Haiti to America, then why are you here? Number one. Number two, I've been to Haiti. So like, let's stop the lies, okay? Don't try to act like just because you might be privileged. There's like a few privileged people in Haiti. Don't act like the media is misrepresenting Haiti. No, I've been there. And it was pure chaos, no infrastructure. I went there 2 months after the earthquake. We were trying to give stuff out we went to some of the tent cities and we're trying to give away clothes. It was a situation where the messenger could get attacked. You know what I'm saying? You give one thing to one person and now you have a mob of people and now they're literally fighting each other right in front of your face for the shirt that you just gave away. Pure chaos. And at the time, I knew Haitians that were like, we don't need the UN troops. Like, hell, they did need the UN troops, okay? And then from the time that we left the airport, there was a mob of kids that are begging you for money. I mean, we had to be protected from them and get in the car and then have to keep the windows up. They said, don't put the windows down. You literally have 200 kids banging on the glass, begging you for money. One girl from New Orleans pulled the window down. She couldn't take it, started giving them money. But the problem is, if you give money to one kid, now they're going to fight. Now everybody's fighting that kid, or they all want money, and more kids come. You see 100 kids asking for money, you get 25 cents to one, here come another 100 kids. Not only asking you, they're going to fight the people that you gave the money to. And I've never seen that anywhere else in the world that I've been to. And when Anthony Bourdain went to Haiti, he did not ignore that. And when I went to Haiti, we went to different parts of the island, okay? And every time we got out of a van, like it was hot as hell, we get out of a van to get something to, drink. And here comes a mob of kids again, trying to sell you soda, asking for money. It was overwhelming. So let's not stop acting like, oh, Haiti's this lovely, I'm not going to say not nice things about Haiti, but when you're acting like you downgraded by coming to America and Haiti is so much better and you're talking all this shit. And then when I speak up and say something, I get attacked by Haitians. Or this man in Ghana is going to sit here and say that his life is so much better in Ghana and he left his 6-figure job in America and now he's talking bad about America and he's saying Americans are, we have a savior complex, all this shit. But you came running over here. Nobody asked people from Ghana to come here. So that shit's mad disrespectful. People will be coming to America, they have no respect. It's okay to talk shit about America. No other country can take it. I just talk about the fact that the air in Ghana looks thick and dirty, and it does. And they get so mad. They start attacking me personally and attacking my looks and attacking this and that. Your air is dirty, okay? Go look it up. It's number 27 in the world, worst air in the world. Like, you can't tell that when you're breathing that shit? Because I could tell when I went to Senegal, and Ghana is above Senegal, okay? So, and Ghana is significantly above Senegal. I think Senegal might be number 49 or in the 40s. And I was like dying there. So you're 27 in the world? You know what I'm saying? Stop the lies. And that's one of the biggest things I see with traveling internationally. People come to America and like to talk shit about my country, my country, my country. My country's so much better. My country, why are you here? Then you go to their country and it's shit. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just being real. And then you understand why so many of them are here. There's mass Senegalese people in Harlem. When I went to Senegal, I understood why. And I'm like, I bet you they're glad to be in Harlem. Okay? I would rather be in Harlem than be in Dakar. Period. So stop the disrespect. Because when Americans move to other people's countries, we don't do that. And then when we speak up about the disrespect that blatantly happens in our face, people get offended. But first of all, as an American, we're a truth teller. I'm not suppressed over here. My body's not suppressed and my mind is not suppressed. And I don't want to go to a country where I have to suppress myself and dumb myself down. I don't want to be there that bad. There's nothing in Ghana that's that amazing that I feel like I need to go there and spend my money to be suppressed like that. You know, they're going to tell me to put my clothes on. Oh, they might send me to jail for 3 years because I'm dancing with a girl. And then I can't breathe because the air is dirty. Then you got all these ultra processed foods, and the food over there don't look good to me. I'm just being honest. Like, it doesn't. Okay, Fumi, I'll definitely give you a call. So I just wanted to basically make this video about the anti-gayness in Ghana, the anti-gayness in Africa, and how it's coming from colonialism and religion. And if you don't believe me, because a lot of people want to argue about it, but I know people who do haven't done the research. And so I will post some books below. Check them out. Read some books, because people don't read enough. I mean, and read scholarly texts. Read things by like award-winning historians. Read anthropology. Read things about pre-colonial society if you want to learn the truth. You have to search for it. Most people aren't searching for it. The only book most of people read is the damn Bible. I haven't read a page of the Bible. That shit is a book of made-up stories. They got the world twisted, okay? Okay, so I will end this video here. I'm going to do another video about the Sheila gigs and all of that on my other page of Renaissance Amazon. So if you want more of my sacred sexual talk, definitely join me over there. If you learned something from this video, please like it, please share it. Join me on YouTube, Makeda Valletta Travels, and YouTube. Join me on Instagram. And Makeda Valletta_travels. I don't always post the same thing in both places, but thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.